Good morning, everybody. We're getting ready to do day 2 of our Bible study. I hope that all of you are doing great. And again, this is a short Bible study. We have one more day. We are just reading Second Chronicles 29, 30, and 31. So today is day 30, day 2, and it is approximately 8:33 a.m. So we're going to go ahead and jump in. And as always, I give lessons at the end of the Bible study. Second Chronicles 30. King Hezekiah now sent word to all Israel and Judah, and he wrote letters of invitation to the people of Ephraim and Manasseh. He asked everyone to come to the temple of the Lord at Jerusalem to celebrate the Passover of the Lord, the God of Israel. The king, his officials, and all the community of Jerusalem decided to celebrate Passover a month later than usual. They were unable to celebrate it at the prescribed time because not enough priests could be purified by then, and the people had not yet assembled at Jerusalem. This plan for keeping the Passover seemed right to the king and all the people, so they sent a proclamation throughout all Israel, from Beersheba in the south to Dan in the north, inviting everyone to come to Jerusalem to celebrate the Passover of the Lord, the God of Israel. The people had not been celebrating it in great numbers as required in the law. At the king's command, runners were sent throughout Israel and Judah. They carried letters that said, O people of Israel, return to the Lord, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, so that he will return to the few of us who have survived the conquest of the Assyrian kings. Do not be like your ancestors and relatives who abandoned the Lord, the God of their ancestors, and became an object of derision. As you yourselves can see, do not be stubborn as they were, but submit yourselves to the Lord. Come to the temple, okay, which he has set apart as holy forever. Worship the Lord your God, so that his fierce anger will turn away from you. For if you return to the Lord, your relatives and your children will be treated mercifully by their captors, and they will be able to return to this land. For the Lord your God is gracious and merciful if you return to him. Okay? He will not continue to turn his face from you. Okay? The runners went from town to town throughout Ephraim and Manasseh and as far as the territory of Zebulun, but most of the people just laughed at the runners and made fun of them. However, some people from Asher, Manasseh, and Zebulun humbled themselves and went to Jerusalem. At the same time, God's hand was on the people in the land of Judah, giving them all one heart to obey the orders of the king and his officials who were following the word of the Lord. So a huge crowd assembled at Jerusalem in mid spring to celebrate the festival of unleavened bread. They set to work and removed the pagan altars from Jerusalem. They took away all the incense altars and threw them into the Kidron Valley. On the 14th day of the second month, 1 month later than usual, the people slaughtered the Passover lamb. This shamed the priests and Levites, so they purified themselves and brought burnt offerings to the temple of the Lord. Then they took their places at the temple as prescribed in the law of Moses. The temple as prescribed in the law of Moses. I'm sorry, I repeated myself, y'all. The man of God. The Levites brought the sacrificial blood to the priest, who then sprinkled it on the altar. Since many of the people had not purified themselves, the Levites had to slaughter their Passover lamb for them, to set them apart for the Lord. Most of those who came from Ephraim, Manasseh, Issachar, and Zebulun had not purified themselves. But King Hezekiah prayed for them, and they were allowed to eat the Passover meal anyway, even though this was contrary to the requirements of the law. For Hezekiah said, May the Lord who is good pardon those who decide to follow the Lord, the God of their ancestors, even though they are not properly cleansed for the ceremony. And the Lord listened to Hezekiah's prayer and healed the people. So the people of Israel who were present in Jerusalem joyously celebrated the festival of unleavened bread for 7 days. Each day the Levites and priests sang to the Lord, accompanied by loud instruments. Hezekiah encouraged all the Levites regarding the skill they displayed as they served the Lord. The celebration continued for 7 days. Peace offerings were sacrificed, and the people gave thanks to the Lord, the God of their ancestors. The entire assembly then decided to continue the festival another 7 days. So they celebrated joyfully for another week. King Hezekiah gave the people 1,000 bulls and 7,000 sheep and goats for offerings. And the officials donated 1,000 bulls and 10,000 sheep and goats. Meanwhile, many more priests purified themselves. The entire assembly of Judah rejoiced, including the priests, the Levites, all who came from the land of Israel, the foreigners who came to the festival, and all those who lived in Judah. There was great joy in the city, for Jerusalem had not seen a celebration like this one since the days of Solomon, King David's son. Sorry, y'all. Verse 27, I'm sorry, we're almost done. Then the priest and Levites stood and blessed the people, and God heard their prayer from his holy dwelling in heaven. Glory be to God. And I have to get a bigger Bible, y'all. These letters, I don't know if y'all can see it. Let me see. See how small they are? I don't know. They're small to me. I got to get like a magnifying glass to see that. So I got to get a new Bible. Have to budget. All right, y'all. So that is chapter 30. We are now going to get into the lessons here. So, number one, Hezekiah sends a bold national call to return to the Lord. Okay. So, Hezekiah doesn't whisper repentance, he proclaims it across the nation. He sends letters into territories that have been spiritually dead for years. Okay. He calls people who haven't worshiped God in generations. This is a long time. He reaches out to tribes that had turned their backs on the Lord. This is not a small invitation. This is a national summons. Okay. So Hezekiah is basically saying, come back to God, come back to covenant, come back to life. Okay. So what is the lesson here? Revival begins when someone is bold enough to call a nation back to God. Okay. We have to be bold, y'all. Number two, many mock the call, and you will get those mockers. You will get the naysayers, y'all. But God moves through the remnant anyway. Okay. So we have some that laugh, some that mock, some treated the invitation like a joke. Okay. But a remnant humbles themselves and comes to Jerusalem. We are still going to finish the work. We're not coming off the wall. We are going to continue to proclaim the good news of Jesus Christ. Okay. God is real. So mocking does not stop God. Unbelief does not block revival. The crowd's reaction does not determine God's response. Okay. And it shouldn't determine ours either. Whether they mock, whether they ridicule, whether they slander. Okay. We still are going to go forward. We got to be like Nehemiah. We're not coming off the wall. We're not coming off the assignment, our post. Okay. God has always used the remnant to shift the nation. Okay? So, what is our lesson? God does not need everyone. He needs the ones who will bow, He needs the ones that will obey. He needs the ones that are selfless. Okay? Not selfish, selfless, right? Enough of this. Let's be about the Father's business. Number three, the people tear down idols and cleanse the land. So those who do respond don't just show up, they take it a step further. They purify themselves. Okay. They tear down altars, they destroy idols, they remove everything that is stolen worship. They don't wait for permission. They don't wait for leadership. They don't wait for another decree. They act immediately. So, what is our lesson? What is the takeaway, y'all? You cannot return to God while protecting what replaced him. You cannot return to God while protecting what replaced him. Okay. In 1 minute, y'all, I have to clear my throat. All right, y'all, I'm back. Thank the good Lord. I have what's called a pause button. So I was able to pause. But yeah, my throat started to itch a little bit, y'all. You know, that enemy don't want us getting the truth out. So let me say it again. They don't wait for permission. They don't wait for leadership. They don't wait for another decree. They act immediately. God needs us to act immediately. I just saw a testimony not too long ago, probably like an hour ago. This woman, God told her to go ahead and go get dumbbells. Okay. So she told her husband, like, hey, God is telling me it's time to go get the dumbbells. So they go and get the dumbbell. They acted immediately. They didn't hesitate. They didn't sit on it, right? As soon as he told them to go get it, go do it, they did it. And out of their obedience, they were able to help a homeless couple um, that was dealing with drug addiction. Okay. And come to find out when they went to the store, the dumbbells weren't even there. The dumbbells, the homeless people are the one that had them because somebody had came just out of nowhere and gave them dumbbells and they just put it in their grocery cart because you know when homeless people put things in grocery carts, that's how they travel. And so when they met the homeless couple because they felt led to go to them, that's when the dumbbells were given. And so God just moves in a miraculous way. Our obedience, we have to act immediately. So what's the lesson? You cannot return to God while protecting what replaced him. Okay. Revival demands removal. Okay. We have to obey. So what is it in our life that needs to go because it's a hindrance to our relationship with God. It's a hindrance to the move of God. It's a hindrance to your breakthrough. It's a hindrance to what God wants to do in your life. It's a hindrance to you crossing over into that promised land because it has to go. Okay. And for me, it was my own husband. It was my own husband. He was preventing me from crossing over. So whatever you have to do, you must do it. Whatever God is telling you to release, release it. It was my family, it was my mother, it was my father, my sisters and brothers. So it was step by step. I had to let them go too. And there was people that I was idolizing, music that I was idolizing. Okay? We have to go to God and find out what needs to go. Okay? This is not a game, y'all. So what's the lesson? God heals those. I'm sorry, that's the wrong one. I do apologize. So the lesson is you cannot return to God while protecting what replaced him. Revival demands removal. And then number 4, God accepts imperfect people because their hearts are sincere. Okay? Many were not ceremonially clean. They didn't meet every requirement. They didn't have everything in order. However, they came with sincerity. They came with humility. They came with desire. Okay? And then Hezekiah, he prayed for them and God heals them. God heard Hezekiah's prayer and he responded. The prayers of the righteous availeth much. Do not think your prayers are not moving God. Don't believe your prayers are not stirring God's heart and causing him to respond because they are. Okay? So Hezekiah prays for them and God heals them. God is not looking for flawless people. He's not looking for perfect people. He is looking for honest hearts. He's looking for obedience. Obedience is better than sacrifice. So stop thinking, oh, I got to get it right first before I come to God. No, come to him now just as you are. He will accept you just as you are. And throughout the process of you following him and doing what his word says to do, you are getting cleansed in the process. But he sees the desire, he sees the effort, he sees your dedication. And I'm telling you, that matters to God too. So, what is the lesson? God heals those who seek him, even if they are still being cleaned. Those two homeless people, back to the testimony, they weren't clean. They were full of drugs. They were homeless. There's no telling what else they were doing. You see what I'm saying? But God met them where they were. And I'm not even going to lie, y'all. The thought came to my head, oh my gosh, they're in fornication. They're not married. But then it changed my heart. Let's just love. Let's not be so quick to judge. So there was a shift even in my heart and in my mind. I'm like, wow, it didn't matter to God. Like, because God knows what time. Let's just have mercy. Let's just plant those seeds. Let's not be so quick to judge and point the finger. Compassion and love. Compassion and love. Okay? Number 5, the Passover explodes with joy, unity, and worship. The people celebrate with such overwhelming joy that they extend the feast another 7 days. It feels good to be in the presence of the Lord. Let's extend this thing. Amen. The worship is so strong that it cannot be contained. The unity is so real that it becomes visible. The joy is so deep that it becomes contagious. Anybody that has ever felt the presence of the Lord, you have felt a shift in the room. You have felt that rush of air. I don't know if some of y'all have ever felt that. It's like I don't know how to explain it, but you just feel that breeze and you're like, oh my gosh, God is in the room. His presence is in this room. Okay, it's contagious. So this is not routine worship. This is revival worship. Okay. So when God becomes the center again, joy becomes unstoppable. And I used to look at people and I'm like, why are you so happy? Why? It's the joy of the Lord. It's the joy of the Lord. No matter what you're going through, it's the joy of the Lord. And don't be upset if you're not at that place yet, y'all. It takes a lot of going through to get to that point. It takes a lot of overcoming, breakthrough. Uh, God showing you He's faithful. God showing you he has His hand on your life. A lot of experiences that people have gone through has brought them to the joy of the Lord because they know no matter what they go through, He's with them. He's going to respond. He's going to deliver. He did it then. He's doing it now. And that's what this whole teaching is about, y'all. It's getting all of y'all back to your rightful place with God, putting Him back in first place. He should be your first love. Okay. And so finally, number 6, to wrap it up, revival spreads beyond Jerusalem. The nation is transformed. So after the feast, the people go out and destroy idols throughout Judah and Israel. They don't return home the same way they came. Okay. They carry revival with them. They carry conviction with them. They carry obedience with them. Revival doesn't stay in the temple, it invades the nation. Everywhere we go, people should know who we belong to. There is a shift when God's people come into the room. There is a shift when you step into that environment. It doesn't matter where you are, whether the workplace, whether you're home, whether you're taking a walk, going to the park. It doesn't matter. There's going to be a shift when you step into that room, because it's not you stepping in, it's God. Okay? So they carry revival, conviction, and obedience. Revival doesn't stay in the temple, it invades the nation. So, what is our lesson? True revival doesn't end at the altar, it changes the land, it changes the atmosphere. When I worked at the retail location, when I tell you it was so worldly up in there when I first stepped in, it was so worldly. Everybody was just listening to worldly music, talking inappropriately, cussing up a storm, y'all. But as I continued to remain, okay, God's presence became overwhelming. People started to quit. The demons were acting up. They were cutting up in that workplace. Okay. But I was praying in secret. Okay. I was asking for God to change things. Okay. I was praying for people. Okay. Praying for my enemies, praying for people coming up against me, taking it to God. We step into these environments, darkness is exposed because light is coming in. Okay. So let's keep being about the Father's business, and I'll see y'all for day 3. And that's going to conclude the Hezekiah teaching. So see you then. Bye bye.